Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Spanish lesson. Today we're going to learn how one Spanish verb can mean to throw, to add, to help, or to get fired.
That's right. Today, in this lesson, we're diving into one of the most versatile and expressive verbs in Spanish, echar. And while it may look simple at first, echar is used in a wide variety of daily expressions and idioms that can completely change their meaning depending on the context. So today, we'll explain each use and provide plenty of examples to make you sound more natural and fluent, just like a native speaker.
Okay, so echar is used in the most literal sense to throw something somewhere, especially lightly or casually.
Okay, so for example, we could say something like, she threw the keys on the table.
Ella echó las llaves sobre la mesa.
Or, they threw water at each other.
Se echaron agua el uno al otro.
Don't throw trash on the floor.
No eches basura al suelo.
The kids were throwing stones into the river.
Los niños echaban piedras al río.
So, that's the main usage of echar. But we can also use it in cooking when we talk about adding something to a dish. Now, the tricky part here is when we add something to something else using the preposition a, we need the indirect object pronoun le if it's singular or les if it's plural. So, for example, add some salt to the soup.
Échale un poco de sal a la sopa.
So here we have le because it's a la sopa, it's singular. But what if we said, I'm going to pour some milk into the coffees?
Voy a echarles leche a los cafés.
So here we see we use les because it's plural, a los cafés. So that's the trick. If we have the preposition a, we need an indirect object pronoun le or les, depending if what we're adding to is singular or plural. However, if we use a different preposition and not a, we don't need the le or les. So, for example, he put oil in the pan.
Echó aceite en el sartén.
Or, she poured the sauce on the pasta.
Ella echó la salsa sobre la pasta. Next, echar is commonly used to talk about being fired from a job. This way is more informal than using despedir. For example,
they fired him last week for not meeting his responsibilities.
Lo echaron del trabajo la semana pasada por no cumplir con sus responsabilidades.
I got fired from the restaurant I worked at because I yelled at a customer.
Me echaron del restaurante donde trabajaba porque le grité a un cliente.
She was fired from her job for being late several times, despite the warnings.
La echaron de su empleo por llegar tarde varias veces a pesar de las advertencias.
This week, they fired a lot of workers from the company due to budget cuts.
Esta semana echaron a muchos trabajadores de la empresa por recortes de presupuesto.
Now, before we go on to our next usage, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you still haven't. Now, one of my favorite ways to use echar is to place blame on someone. Now, we're always going to need an indirect object pronoun to show who we're blaming. For example, they blamed me for everything.
Me echaron la culpa de todo.
Or, don't blame Janet for the project's bad review.
No le eches la culpa a Janet por el mal comentario en el proyecto.
My uncle always blames others for his mistakes.
Mi tío siempre les echa la culpa a los demás por sus errores.
We can't blame him for breaking the chair. It was an accident.
No podemos echarle la culpa a él por haber roto la silla. Fue un accidente. Echarle la mano a alguien is a very common and friendly way to offer or ask for help. Here, we always need an indirect object pronoun to clarify who we are helping.
Right, so for example, we could ask something like, can you give me a hand?
¿Puedes echarme la mano?
Or to say, he helped me move yesterday.
Me echó la mano para mudarme ayer.
We need someone to help us organize the event.
Necesitamos que alguien nos eche la mano para organizar el evento.
She always helps her neighbors by taking out the trash and cleaning their yards.
Ella siempre les echa la mano a sus vecinos, sacando la basura y limpiando el patio. Really quick, we want to say thanks to our supporters and members. Thank you, David and Jeff, John and Regina, and Violante for your Buy Me a Coffee donations. Also, thank you to Armando Benitez for becoming a YouTube member. And thank you to Armando and Elaine Hudson for becoming our new patrons. Your support helps us create lessons like this to improve your Spanish. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Okay, our next usage is echar un vistazo. And we use this when we want to check something out quickly or casually. It's like to take a look at something. And just like in our example of adding an ingredient or pouring something, adding something to something else, when we take a look at something using the preposition a, we need to make sure we're using an indirect object pronoun, either le or les. So, for example, I took a look at the list.
Le eché un vistazo a la lista.
Or, can you look over this document?
¿Puedes echarle un vistazo a este documento?
So in these two examples, we had the preposition a followed by a singular noun that we were looking at. So we always used le. But in these examples where we don't use a, we don't need to add the indirect object pronoun. So for example, she peeked inside the bag.
Echó un vistazo dentro de la bolsa.
Or, let me take a quick look.
Déjame echar un vistazo rápido. We can also use the reflexive form echarse plus a plus infinitive to refer to a spontaneous or emotional action. For example,
she started crying.
Se echó a llorar.
He suddenly started running.
Se echó a correr.
They started laughing out loud.
Echaron a reírse a carcajadas.
I started screaming when I saw the spider.
Me eché a gritar cuando vi la araña.
And another way that we can use echar in its reflexive form, echarse, is when we talk about lying down or taking a nap. So, for example, I'm going to lie down for a while.
Voy a echarme un rato.
Riley laid down on the grass.
Riley se echó sobre el césped.
Harold took a nap after lunch.
Harold se echó una siesta después del almuerzo.
My sister is watching the kids. Let's lie down and rest.
Mi hermana está cuidando a los niños. Vamos a echarnos y descansar. Now, whereas in Latin America we use the verb extrañar to express to miss someone or something, in Spain the expression echar de menos is used instead. For example,
I miss my family.
Echo de menos a mi familia.
She misses her dog a lot.
Ella echa mucho de menos a su perro.
Do you miss living by the beach?
¿Echas de menos vivir cerca de la playa?
My cousins miss their old house.
Mis primos echan de menos su antigua casa.
So, those are the 9 important everyday uses of the verb echar. And we actually have 2 extra bonus usages for you too. But first, if you'd like to become a member of our Spanish community, check out the links in the description of this video. We have links for Patreon memberships, for YouTube memberships, and for Buy Me a Coffee. So it's really easy to donate to the channel or sign up for our exclusive benefits. For example, in Patreon, we post 2 extra videos per month, as well as an audio listening comprehension from Darcy. So check it out. Okay, so we say that these last 2 examples are bonuses because they're not super common, but you may hear them in some parts of Latin America.
Echar raíces, to put down roots or to settle down.
So, for example, after years of traveling, they finally decided to settle down in a small town in Mexico.
Después de años de viajar, finalmente decidieron echar raíces en un pueblo pequeño en México.
Now that I've graduated college, I'd like to find a nice place to put down roots and start a family.
Ahora que me he graduado de la universidad, me gustaría encontrar un buen lugar donde echar raíces y formar una familia.
And finally, echar can mean to give off or to emit something, such as a sound or smoke or a smell. So, for example, the chimney is giving off a lot of smoke.
La chimenea está echando mucho humo.
The air freshener emits a pleasant smell.
El aromatizante Echa un olor agradable.
And that's it. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more lessons like this.
Now watch this video to keep improving your Spanish.
Until next time.